All right, you've decided to make a bit of a life change, and you told me this in the office early in the week, and I said, well, we got a lot of stuff to do Monday and Tuesday. We'll get to it later. But you are considering a retirement.
Yeah, this is not finalized by any means, and I will admit I'm fully emotional right now because it's happening in real time right now.
Yep.
And I'm strongly considering retiring from fantasy football.
Okay, now before we go much further, you are the most fantasy football guy in our show, and it's not close. You have always been fantasy football guy.
Mm-hmm.
You take it incredibly seriously.
Yeah, enjoy it.
With you and your crew.
I used to enjoy it.
But you are considering retiring.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, there's a few things. I mean, I just mentioned my life with the girls, the two little ones, and you know, obviously things start to take away from your time that you can commit to other things like fantasy football. Yep. Okay? And so, yes, my commitment hasn't been as strong as it was when we started like 15, 20 years ago. But it's still there. The fire's still burned. I enjoyed looking forward to the draft. I love the draft. One of my favorite days because we still do the draft live in person. There may be one or two guys online, but generally speaking, we get everyone in a room. We have a great time.
Yep.
And then throughout the year, you know, just the talking, the texting with the guys back and forth. This year, I finished with one win, and I won that game by, I believe, less than a yard. Everything I did was terrible. The enjoyment was sucked out of it. I didn't even, like, it got to the point where I know guys, they will live on their phones on Sundays, you know, just checking scores and things like that. Yeah. Am I up? Am I down? What I need going into Sunday night? What I need on Monday Night Miracle? I would just check it Tuesday because I just knew my team sucked so bad. I didn't even want to look at it in the face and see reality of, like, yes, you lost again. So, in the beginning of the year, Doug, it was because I had some bad luck. I actually my team played well. I was getting bad matchups. Second half of the year, blown out. And it just took the enjoyment out of it. I'm like, I think I'm done. I'm terrible.
Are you terrible because you're terrible, or are you terrible because you cannot commit the time to it that you used to?
It's both, maybe. I don't even know anymore. I mean, I'm caught up in my feelings right now, Doug. Now's not a good time. You know, they say, what is it, the grace period after a game? You know, I'm currently in the toilet bowl. I'm pretty sure I got smoked in week 1, so I'm going to have to face the other loser. I don't know, man.
And is this? Are you guys now playing for who has to do the embarrassing?
Yeah, whatever the punishment this year was, I don't even know. It might be monetary. I have no idea. I got smoked. We do side bets. I'm pretty sure I lost every single one of my side bets. It's bad. Like, what am I even doing anymore?
So, there's two things about this. One is you might have withdrawal symptoms when next season rolls around, and it may rekindle something. So maybe just think of it as a season off. There's that. Two is you basically ran into the same thing I did, which was I couldn't commit the time to it that everybody else in my league could. And the last league I played in was the one here at the station. And it was run by Mike, and Mike ran it very, very well for people who were very, very, very into fantasy football, including payouts for the breakdown.
The breakdown.
Still to this day have no idea what the breakdown was.
You don't understand the breakdown.
No. But there were people that were getting paid out because of Mike's The Breakdown, which will go down in history as one of my favorite things about Mike. And watching Mike conduct a fantasy football auction while participating was like watching Mozart score, you know, a great classical tune.
Yeah.
I was in awe of watching Mike run the auction and bid at the same time. But there were people in the league that were wired just like that. And between the financial commitment, which was the high end of what I wanted to pay.
It was more than $13.
It was more than $13. And the amount of effort it took with the waiver wire, the windows that closed. I had a weird lineup screw up that took place.
You got penalized for that.
I got penalized because
you didn't have a full, active roster.
I didn't have a full active roster, but I swore I submitted it in time. It was a long story. I don't even remember what went down, but I remember Big Joe telling me, "Nope, you can't do that." I'm like, dude, I'm out.
You had your moment.
I had my moment.
Yeah.
I had my moment. And I realized what I needed for me wasn't what I was getting here from the station league. It was perfect for a lot of people at the station. I needed a bunch of dudes like me that didn't have the time, where we would be in it and we'd have enough money to be interested, but really we didn't have to put quite as much time in to understand things like the breakdown and all of the waiver rules, and there weren't a few. There were quite a bit. So that's the other possibility. Is it possible that you just need to either A, have your league gear down a little bit on how seriously it's taken and make it a little bit easier, or B, you just you find other people that are kind of in your boat that don't have the time. So these people are committing the same amount of time. I talked to somebody this year, and I almost did this, that ran a fantasy league where you drafted your lineup on day one, and that was your team the entire year. And I was like, ooh, this could work for me.
That would work for you because it takes all the work out of it.
Yep. Now, I can't remember if we had backups that had to fill in on bye weeks or how it worked, but it felt, I was like, now this is up my alley, because I just do the draft, which is the best part, and then sit back and watch. And, but you're considering breaking out. Okay, so if you've retired from fantasy football, why did you do it? And are you okay? Because that's the other thing, is I think the withdrawal symptoms you might have are a legitimate thing.
I don't want to be Tom Brady, where,
Right.
you say you retire and then you come back.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm going to give it a time, but right now I'm very emotional. I just feel like, what am I doing? This is terrible. I just need to quit this.
Yeah.
Focus on my family.
and alleviate the aggravation of not having the time to be good at fantasy football anymore. Don on Twitch says, "Do it, Kang. This is my second year without it, and it makes watching the NFL so much more enjoyable, just watching the games rather than focusing only on your players." Let's go to Mike here on 97 on the Ticket. Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good. Okay, so long-time listener. I've talked to you maybe almost 20 years ago. How long you guys been on air?
Well, this show's been on the air for coming up on 18 years.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So it's right around there.
Yeah.
But I want to talk to King and talk him off the ledge a little bit here, because I quit fantasy football about 6-7 years ago when things got bad with football, with domestic abuse and concussions and all that. So I stopped. I just didn't like how the NFL was operating. So I quit it. And now I got back in. But I got back in as a silent partner now. So I am now with my cousin. He's got the team. He runs the show, and I just give him the money.
And
I'm back in.
But are you paying? You pay attention?
He pays more attention.
Okay, but you know who's on your team, and you watch the games, and you have your guys to root for. But are you making no decisions?
Not really. No, he does the drop ads, but I feel like I have a level of involvement now.
What do you think?
And
Can
I
you
actually
do this?
kind of like this idea.
Do
I'm
you?
so bad at my job. Maybe someone needs to take it over for me, and I just become the silent partner. Just run things by me, let me know who we got on our team, right? But I'm still involved. I'm still part of it. I kind of like that idea. Maybe I should bring on a partner.
Well,
I like that.
I think so.
I like that.
There we go.
There you go. You basically silent partner. You fund the operation. Let somebody else run it. Dude, give it to my youngest son. He's way into it.
I don't know, man. He's the one who's leaving the underwear and the sock. And
I'm not sure who left the underwear in the sock in the kitchen this morning. 248-539-9797. Matt is next. Hi, Matt.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I retired from fantasy football probably, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, because I had started probably 10 years ago doing fantasy Premier League, English Premier League. I was doing them both for a while, but since I probably care more about the Lions and the NFL at that time, I would just get more annoyed when I lost than anything else. Then I started watching Premier League. It's always on in the morning or early afternoon, so I'm like, I'm not wasting my whole day. And I just switched exclusively to Premier League. No more NFL. I can just enjoy the games.
Okay.
Although now I'm getting mad at my Premier League fantasy team
I
for
was
losing.
about to ask. I think the possibility of Kang quitting fantasy football and start playing fantasy football are 0.0. But Kang, would you consider going in with like an English Premier League fantasy team?
Probably not, but I couldn't do any worse than I did this year.
That's a good point. Very good point. 248-539-9797. Let's have Mike run the league and come up with some sort of the breakdown.
It'll be a tremendous breakdown.
Yeah.